Make work great again. In the wake of the resounding Trump victory, we are rethinking innumerable previous conclusions. Chief among them is entrepreneurship, specifically the promises of digitally enabled self-employment. Recall in 2007, Tim Ferriss showed the way to a 4-hour work week. Gen X and older millennial discontents in corporate America seeing that unless you are a member of a special privileged class are at a distinct disadvantage, and noticing the HRification of promotion and business excellence, and furthermore, experiencing the discrimination that only results from being a tall poppy, wanted to check out of the system. Welcome to my TED Talk. No, this is actually what my TED Talk is about. The result was every digital native and his cousin starting some kind of internet business. The trend accelerated and crested into 2021 and 2022. But there is a reason so many of the early internet marketing gurus have since rebranded into personal development and spirituality experts. They lived the quote unquote FIRE, financially independent, retired, early. It was smoke and ash, not lasting warmth. Top performers who were otherwise needed in our society at large and in specific industries in which they are qualified had opted out of lasting contribution due to yassified school marmory. We left the longhouse to become lost boys. Many of us coasted on hedonism and number go up fads that made our riches even richer. Slow soul suicide, that way is. But Trump, too, changes everything. It's okay to be great in public again. Musk, Vance, Sachs, Ravikant, Ackman, and other operators are setting the example for unified civics and business. Meaningful work at the organizational level is going to be legal again. That's not a joke, nor is it hyperbole. Expect a return of the fired generation into day jobs and salaried work because they're wanted again and also needed. And more importantly, they'll be appreciated and compensated appropriately. The lost boys will become known men. We didn't find ourselves making money online, but we did find each other. And now we need to bring each other back to work that matters. I may be one of these men. You might too. We don't want a 4-hour work week. We want a 14-hour workday that makes a difference. Perhaps not every day, but many days. Laptop lifestyles don't put men on Mars or freedom cities on federal land. So here's to the new epoch of American history, because whatever it will be is whatever we'll build together. This is a based piece that I shared the other day on X, now formerly Twitter, now X. And it is going mildly viral, I will say. There are a few points of clarification and disagreement that have come up. One of them is, well, Joshua, that's all inspirational, that's all well, and that's all good. But what you seem to be missing is once this generation of new leaders under Trump 2 over the next 12 years or so, yes, there will be a golden age, that much is true. But once they age out, the bureaucratic apparatus will still be there. Human resources will still be there. Yes, queens will still be there. Perhaps even quotas, DEI policies, and affirmative action, all will still be there. Ryan Christensen and Michael Gimmerin, both clients of mine, and both disagreed with my post, which is fine. They pointed out that the future is not at the institutional level, the future of meaningful work. It's at small teams, 4 to 7. Another client, all clients are responding to this post, interestingly enough, a fellow named Luke Weinhagen. He pointed out that the future is teams of 4 to 10 who decide what the culture is going to be of the organization. Michael pointed out that there no longer needs to be bureaucratic apparatuses that exist for their own sake, but rather teams of individuals who form around a specific problem to solve it and move on once the problem is solved. Because otherwise it doesn't make any sense to be anything not project-based anymore. To launch a product, to maintain it, to solve a major problem, major issue. And interestingly enough, we are witnessing that with the formation of DOGE, the Department of Government Efficiency, that was just announced, with Elon Musk and Vivek Ramaswamy leading that. What is fascinating about that is it is probably going to be a small team of 4 to 10 people who have a 1.5 year approximate, a 1.5 year plan, 1.5 year timeline. Their work begins January 20th, officially, 2025, and continues until July 4th, 2026, in celebration of the 250th anniversary of the United States of America. That's pretty cool. But that is precisely, and what's interesting is that was announced a few hours after I published that post. That's probably what it is. Now, Vivek and Elon, what are they doing? They're going to go work for the government, which is exactly what I predicted. That it's okay to be great in public again, inside of organizations. And so what I said, what Luke Weinhagen, Michael Gimmerin, and Ryan Christensen all said, does not necessarily disagree with one another. Consider everyone you know who is a services provider. Most of them are in the service of making money, or helping you make money, or helping you save money, or something related to money. Money making, money saving, money spending, whatever. Spending less, earning more, whatever. Getting clients. There's an entire industry now, a cottage industry, I would even say, in internet marketing circles and online entrepreneurship, whereas you help people do the thing that it is you do. I'm a business coach or business coach to do business coaching. I create courses about creating courses. And ironically, the most successful businesses do this. I make money to teach you about making money. But do you actually make money? Well, I make money by making money, by teaching you about making money. Okay. So you make money from stock tips. Well, no, you see, I make money by selling courses about making stock tips, making money from stock tips. Oh, okay. Now, my book, So Good They Call You a Fake, is about writing books, but it's about far more than just that. It's about how to transform your expertise into a viable business model with both goods and services that you sell. Business and professional services, yes, but also actual products that you are able to sell. If I wrote a book about writing books, that would be a problem. I didn't. We must contribute more, and that we are able to now, as the golden age begins. We are able to contribute more now in an organized fashion, rather than every man for himself. I got mine, you win, I win, but I win bigger sort of perspective. I believe the days of, well, I got mine, solopreneurship are probably at an end. And the great irony, of course, is, like I said, that was my TED Talk. Ryan Christensen pointed out that it may not have been, or his argument was that it was not this sort of wokeness that drove high-performing men out and into independent careers where they're just self-employed solopreneurs. But it was the fact that they weren't being compensated, which is also correct. And I also did indicate that they would be compensated fairly for the first time, compensated correctly. I think it's multiple things. I witnessed this myself when I worked in organizations. I witnessed the corruption of feminine bureaucracy. I say toxically feminine bureaucracy, where adults are treated like small toddlers and mom has just had enough for today. That was the vibe of leadership at every organization, even those that are run by 75% men. Some have said that any organization that is more than 15% women is a corrupted institution. It's a corrupted organization. It's done. That's probably true, but do you know why it's true? I believe the reason why it's true is because of the reason that co-ed groups tend not to work in the workforce or in socializing, generally speaking, for men. It works for women. But you have 7 men in a room. Add a woman. What happened? All 7 men are now going to cater to her needs, her sensibilities. Some of them are probably attracted to her. And now what happens is effectively 7 men competing for the attention of 1 woman versus 7 men focusing on their mission, their assignment, their goal, their objective. That dynamic underpins everything. And I think women are waking up to this fact that their presence changes things. That maybe women in a man's world doesn't work, and maybe men in a woman's world doesn't work. That was third wave feminism, by the way. Third wave feminism said that there was effectively no difference between men and women and that they're interchangeable. This differs from second wave feminism, which was, no, women need to have man's jobs. We need women in the man's world. This is the dawning of the pantsuit. Third wave feminism is, no, actually, dads can be moms and should be moms. Dads should be homemakers. Women should be in the workforce. This not women doing men's things, but it's women doing men's things and also men doing women's things, because women and women are generally the same. The millennial generation witnessed third wave feminism, and now Gen Z has seen fourth wave feminism, which is gender doesn't even sex differences don't exist, and neither do gender differences. Anyone can be anything. Wonder what fifth wave feminism is going to be. It might undo the previous 3 waves. Wouldn't that be ironic? But no, what we are seeing is that Generation Z males are as a population more conservative than previous generations. They're more religious. We are still seeing Gen Z women being feminist, being liberal, but those who are conservative and religious are really conservative and really religious. So their enthusiasm and their devotion to those views is significantly greater than previous generations of those religious conservative women. You notice this in Catholic churches, where the young women under 30, under 25 even, are wearing the veil. Whereas baby boomer, Gen X, and even a lot of Gen Y women are not. Even though they're religious and they're conservative, we see this. The world is changing. I believe that it's changing for the better, but it is going to be a painful change for many as we realign and reassign. The days of being offended are over. Many people will be offended by viewing this. That's okay. Defensiveness proves I was correct. This is what you learn by working with manipulators closely. When they get meta and they stop talking about what you're saying and they talk about what you're talking about, if they say, "Oh, that is offensive," you're no longer talking about the thing. Michael Gimron talks about content versus context in the context of women communication versus men. Men communicate about content. Women communicate about context. Men are the employees. Women are HR. Understand this. And I've only recently begun to observe this for myself. And you could point out that these are biologically correct distinctions. Our species is 200,000 years old. 99.9997% of that time has been in the hunter-gatherer space, with each of us as humans being made for relationships with no more than approximately 150 people. This is called Dunbar's number. Living in the wild, in nature. Eating primarily high-quality animal products with occasional supplementation from beans, roots, nuts, seeds, and grains. Yes, wild grains were a thing. Having fasting being a regular occurrence. Women together and men together. Boys being with women until probably about age 7, and then being with men predominantly. Now, this doesn't mean that they were separate entirely, but it means that their roles were very different. Now, sometimes they were the same. We do see overlap where the men kill the mammoth and then bring it into the camp, and then the women take it from there. And obviously there's collaboration and whatnot. But if you want what's optimal for human flourishing, think about what caused hunter-gatherer tribes to survive and thrive and eventually build itself into a civilization. What were the gender roles and the sex roles? Of course, there's only 2 genders, obviously. But what was it that resulted in our species being able to reproduce? And what does it look like to recreate that environment? Well, I believe that Gimmerin is correct that teams of 4 to 7 men, think about that. Teams of 4 to 7 men would be dispatched to go hunting. So very small, agile groups, bands of brothers. And then the women marrying whoever survived. There's a phrase amongst the so-called red pill space that men must compete. Men must prove themselves, women just are. Women wait at the finish line to see who makes it, and then they mate with the winners. That's probably true. That's probably true. That's offensive. It's probably true. That is a useful reframe I found. Well, that's offensive. So that tells me you're getting defensive. If you say that it's offensive, that means you feel you need to be defensive. And usually someone gets defensive when they're confronted with an uncomfortable truth they're having a difficult time grappling with. So they stop talking and start talking about the thing. So if there's anything here that you have found offensive, that means you're on the defensive, which means you feel like there's something here that is a real threat to you, probably because it's an uncomfortable truth. That which makes you uncomfortable, you find offensive because it's true. Grapple with that. Make work great again in the meantime.